Discipline is stronger than motivation. Let me start with a simple question. What does an average cricket player, a kid who once cleaned garbage, and a man who did over 4,000 pull-ups with a 135-kilogram body weight have in common? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's discipline. Discipline is one of the most powerful forces in the world, yet most people misunderstand it. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants to look strong, confident, and unstoppable, but very few people are willing to live a disciplined life. Here's the hard truth. Even if I give you the exact roadmap of successful people, most people still won't follow it. Why? Because discipline is hard. Everyone wants to be Cristiano Ronaldo, but not everyone wants to live like Cristiano Ronaldo. People love the result, but they hate the process, and discipline is the process. Most people depend on motivation. They wait to feel like it. They wait for energy, excitement, or inspiration, but motivation is emotional. Some days it's high, some days it's completely gone. Discipline is different. Motivation helps you start. Discipline helps you continue. That's why high performers say they don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. Discipline is logical. It's built on systems, routines, and habits, not feelings.
Motivation is not bad. But building your life only on motivation is a mistake. Emotions change. Discipline stays. So the first rule of real success is simple. Choose discipline over motivation. Now let's talk about mornings. Science shows that the person who controls their morning usually controls their entire day. That's why many top performers wake up early. Not because early mornings are magical, but because mornings give you control. This doesn't mean you must wake up at 4 a.m. Everyone's life is different. But waking up on time is a keystone habit. When you win the morning, everything else becomes easier. You get time to think, time to work, time to improve your body and mind. The real problem is the snooze button. You think, just 2 more minutes. Those 2 minutes silently turn into 2 hours. A simple solution? Keep your alarm away from your bed. When it rings, you have to stand up to turn it off. The moment you stand up, you win your first battle of the day. And that first win matters more than you think, because discipline is built from small wins, not big speeches. But here's where most people get stuck. They start overthinking. They look at extreme examples. They compare their life to athletes, billionaires, and soldiers, and suddenly discipline feels impossible. But discipline isn't hard. Comparison makes it hard. Your life doesn't need extreme discipline. It needs your discipline. And that's what we'll break down next. If discipline isn't about copying extreme people, then what should it actually look like in your life? That's where most people finally get it wrong.
Stop overthinking discipline. Most people don't fail because they are lazy. They fail because they overthink everything. They watch successful people wake up at 3 a.m., train for hours, work nonstop, and push their bodies to the limit. Then they look at their own life and think, I can't do this. Discipline is not for me. That's the biggest lie. Discipline feels hard because you're comparing your normal life to someone else's extreme life. An athlete trains hard because their career demands it. A business leader works long hours because their responsibility demands it. A soldier follows brutal routines because their survival depends on it. But your life is different. Your goals are different. Your responsibilities are different. So your discipline should also be different. The mistake people make is setting unrealistic standards. They try to copy someone else's routine instead of building their own. That's why discipline starts to feel like punishment instead of support. Here's the truth. Discipline is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters consistently. You don't need to wake up at 3 a.m. You don't need to train for hours. You don't need to destroy your body. You just need to do the right things regularly. Overthinking kills action. When you overthink, your brain creates fear. It makes simple tasks look complicated. You start planning perfectly, waiting for the right time, the right energy, the right mood. That moment never comes. The most disciplined people don't think much. They act first. Thinking comes later. If brushing your teeth required motivation, most people wouldn't do it. But you don't think about it, you just do it. That's what discipline should feel like. Simple, automatic, non-negotiable. So stop asking, is this enough? Am I doing it perfectly? Should I do more? Ask only one question. Can I do this daily without breaking? If the answer is yes, you're doing it right. Another important thing, discipline is not meant to make your life miserable, it's meant to make your life easier. When you remove unnecessary choices, your mind becomes lighter. That's why disciplined people seem calm. They don't waste energy deciding again and again. They already decided once. Discipline is clarity, and clarity comes from knowing why you are doing something. Without a clear reason, discipline doesn't last. You might start strong, but you won't sustain it. When things get hard, the mind always asks, why am I even doing this? If you don't have an answer, you quit. That's why discipline always needs a purpose, not a fancy goal, not a motivational quote, a real reason, something that matters to you personally. Because motivation may start the journey, discipline may keep you moving, but your why is what takes you to the end. So how do you find a reason strong enough to keep you disciplined when things get painful and boring? That's where most people fall apart.
The power of your why. Discipline doesn't survive without a reason. You can force yourself for a few days. You can push hard for a week or two. But when tiredness hits, when boredom shows up, when life gets messy, only one thing keeps you moving forward: your why. Every disciplined action starts with a simple question: why am I doing this? If you don't have a clear answer, your mind will find excuses, and excuses are very convincing when you're tired. Look at high performers. They all have strong reasons. They don't work hard just because they're motivated. They work hard because something bigger is pulling them forward. Some want to prove themselves. Some want to give their family a better life. Some want to escape the life they're stuck in. Some want to become a stronger version of themselves. Different reasons, same discipline. Your why doesn't need to sound impressive to others. It only needs to be powerful to you. Maybe you're tired of feeling weak. Maybe you're tired of being average. Maybe you want respect from others or from yourself. Maybe you just don't want to regret your life later. All of these are valid reasons.
But here's the mistake people make. They keep their why in their head. Your why needs to be clear, emotional, and visible. When discipline feels heavy, logic won't save you. Emotion will. That's why your why should remind you what happens if you quit and what happens if you don't. Discipline is not about being strict, it's about being committed. And commitment becomes easier when you connect it to pain and purpose. Now let's talk about discomfort. Most people avoid discomfort. They want life to feel easy all the time. But growth doesn't work that way. Think about how the body works. When skin faces pressure again and again, it becomes tougher. This is how calluses are formed. The body adapts to protect itself. Your mind works the same way. When you step outside your comfort zone, it hurts at first. Your brain resists. It tells you to stop, relax, and try again tomorrow. But if you push just a little, not extreme, just uncomfortable,
Your mind adapts. It becomes stronger. This is how mental toughness is built, not in one big moment, but in small, repeated discomforts. Choosing work over scrolling, choosing movement over comfort, choosing focus over distraction. Every time you do something hard, your mind gets tougher. And slowly, discipline stops feeling painful. It becomes normal. People think disciplined people are born strong. They're not. They trained their mind to handle discomfort. Comfort makes you weak. Discomfort makes you capable. And once your mind gets used to doing hard things, life stops controlling you. You start controlling life. But here's the key. You don't need big pain. You need small, daily challenges. That's how real discipline is built. If discipline grows from small daily actions, then what are the right small habits to start with? That's the missing piece most people never understand.
Small habits that create big discipline. Most people think discipline is one big decision. It's not. Discipline is a chain reaction. One small habit leads to another. One small win creates momentum. This is how discipline actually grows, quietly, slowly, and almost invisibly. Think of a line of dominoes. The first domino is small, easy to push. But once it falls, it knocks down the next one, and the next, and eventually even the big dominoes fall. Habits work the same way. You don't need to change your whole life today. You only need to push one small domino. Something simple, something repeatable. Waking up at the same time every day. Drinking water first thing in the morning. Doing 5 minutes of movement. Writing 1 page. Reading 2 pages. These habits may look too small to matter, but they matter more than big plans you never follow. The goal is not intensity. The goal is consistency. When you repeat a habit daily, your brain creates a loop, a trigger, an action, and a reward. Soon you stop thinking, you just do it. That's when discipline becomes automatic. This is why disciplined people don't struggle every day. They remove the struggle by building routines. Now let's talk about willpower. Willpower is not unlimited. It's like a muscle. If you use it all the time, it gets tired. That's why relying only on willpower is dangerous. You might do well for a few days, but then you crash. Smart people don't fight temptation all day. They design their environment so temptation is weaker. They remove distractions. They simplify choices. They reduce decisions. That's why some people wear similar clothes daily. It saves mental energy for important work. You can do the same. If you want to eat healthy, don't keep junk food around. If you want to focus, keep your phone away. If you want to wake up early, keep your alarm away from your bed. Discipline becomes easier when your environment supports it. Another important thing, start with small wins. Small wins build confidence. Confidence builds consistency. Consistency builds identity. Soon, you stop saying, "I'm trying to be disciplined." You start saying, "This is who I am." And once discipline becomes part of your identity, it pulls you forward instead of pushing you. You don't need to force yourself anymore. You don't need motivation. You don't need long speeches. You just act like the person you're becoming. But life will still test you. There will be days when routines break, when stress hits, when everything feels heavy. That's when one final skill matters the most. What happens when discipline fails, routines break, and life pushes you hard? That's where most people collapse and where the strongest people rise. Discipline on your worst days. No matter how disciplined you become, life will test you. There will be days when you're tired, days when routines break, days when nothing goes as planned. This is where most people quit.
Not because they're weak, but because they believe discipline should feel easy all the time. That's not true. Real discipline shows up on bad days, not good ones. On good days, anyone can work. On bad days, only disciplined people move forward. This is where willpower matters, but only as a backup. Willpower is emergency fuel. It's not meant to run your life every day. It's meant for moments when everything goes wrong. The mistake people make is using willpower for small daily tasks. By the time life hits hard, they have nothing left. The solution is simple. Build routines so strong that willpower is rarely needed. Save willpower for chaos. And when things fall apart, don't aim for perfection. Aim for minimum effort consistency. If you usually work out for 60 minutes, do 10. If you usually read 20 pages, read 2. If you can't do everything, do something. Something always beats nothing. This mindset protects your identity. You don't break the chain. You don't tell your brain, I quit. You tell it, I still show up. That's powerful. Another important truth, discipline is not about punishment. It's about respect.
Respect for your future. Respect for your goals. Respect for the person you're trying to become. When you skip discipline, you're not breaking a rule, you're breaking a promise to yourself. And self-respect is built by keeping promises, especially small ones. Over time, discipline changes how you see yourself. You stop doubting. You stop negotiating. You stop waiting. You trust yourself. And that confidence is dangerous, in a good way. Because once you trust yourself, you become unstoppable. You don't need to be extreme. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Discipline is not something you chase. It's something you build, one decision, one habit, one day at a time. And when discipline becomes your foundation, motivation becomes optional. Life stops controlling you. Distractions lose power. Excuses disappear. You become calm, focused, reliable. That is the real success formula. Not talent, not luck, not motivation, discipline. And the best part? Anyone can build it, including you.
If you like the video, do like, share, and subscribe the channel. And do comment and stay tuned for more content.